I first noticed it while trying to make love to a woman called Gertrude. Leave me, Gertrude. I must investigate that wall.
Oh, come on, I've almost finished.
Wall! Not quite wet yet. Not quite dry. It was unapologetically damp. Cold to the touch and roughly the size of a large watermelon, or two smaller watermelons on top of each other. I decided it was best to ignore the patch of damp initially. After all, it seemed like it wanted attention, and I simply refused to give it what it wanted. I don't even negotiate with terrorists, let alone damp. But then my mind started to make unsettling images out of the damp, almost like one of them psychotherapy Rorschach tests. A couple fighting. Mr. Beast, a couple fighting. This time one of them has a hammer. It really depended on my mood and whether I'd watched Mr. Beast recently. Unnerved, I tried covering up the damp with pieces of furniture. A lamp from B&Q, a fig tree also from B&Q but from the garden section. But all the damp did was copy the shape of the items, almost like it was learning. Mocking me almost. I held a hairdryer to the damp, a tip I learned from a knockoff version of Mum's Net called Net Mums. But after a while, beneath the roar of the dryer, I heard the faint yet unmistakable sound of moaning coming from the damp. I was pleasuring it. The damp wasn't just damp anymore. It was also ever so slightly moist. It was at this point I had no choice but to phone my landlord. Maybe he knew how to eradicate damp. After all, he was the one who introduced me to B&Q 2 years ago when I needed a shovel. But to my chagrin, all he said was,
I don't want to hear any more fucking talk about damp. It doesn't exist.
But I've read-
How many times? Damp is just a myth. An old wives' tale landlords tell other landlords to scare them.
but I'm looking at the damp
If
right
you're seeing damp right now, I'm sorry to say it, but you're schizophrenic now. Fuck off.
He didn't believe me. But why would he? It was insane what I was saying. Damp that sometimes looks like Mr. Beast. So I was left with little to no choice but to contact a vicar I met 2 years ago at a funeral and ask him to perform an exorcism on my wall. And I was hopeful, oh, so hopeful, only to then have those hopes shattered when the damp absorbed the splashes of holy water and grew twice in size. It was now 2 large watermelons. I even heard it say, yum. That night I couldn't sleep. I was kept up by the damp's boastful laughter.
Looks like someone's pissed on your wall.
It cackled. I spent the next couple of days pleading with the damp, begging for it to turn into black mold already, to infect my lungs and put me out of my misery. For I'd rather be dead than have a slightly ugly wall. And I'll always remember the cold, callous response given by the damp for as long as I live. Every plea met with a simple,
Nah, you're alright, pissy wall.
please.
Nah, you're alright, pissy wall.
That did it. I was no longer going to be called Pissy Wall. The following morning, I went straight to B&Q.
Back for another fig tree?
Shut up, Jonathan, I bellowed, which I regret now because he is a good lad who's just trying his hardest. I stormed straight over to where they kept the sledgehammers and I bought the sledgiest one. Already there was a calmness in the house when I returned, almost like the damp had made peace with the fact that his number was up. I almost felt sorry for it, but then I remembered the time it gloated that it was damper than the pants of that hussy I brought back. It was referring to Gertrude, and with that I began to swing, and before I knew it, my entire house had collapsed. But at least I got— wait, no! To my horror, the damp was still there, suspended in the fabric of reality. What are you?
Don't you get it yet, Chris? It was never the wall that was damp. It's your conscience. I'm a metaphor for the guilt you feel for bashing your wife's brains in 2 years ago.
Have your dead wife's tears. Wahey!
But I didn't bash my wife's brain. Oh wait, oh yes I did. Oh fuck, yes, yes, that'll be it. Oh shit, yeah, okay, sorry, I won't do that again.
Ah, that's alright then. Bye.
And just like me, the damp was gone.